The nebulous expanse of space stretched far and wide, offering an array of wonders and dangers to those who dared to navigate its infinite reaches. Among the countless stars and galaxies, a remote planet known as Maelstrom Delta harbored a covert human research outpost, where the boundaries between science and the unknown were constantly tested. Colonel Zeros, a seasoned alien military officer of the Gloraxian Empire, stood with a sense of superiority in the main corridor of the outpost, his elongated arms crossed over his chest in a display of arrogance. His eyes, glowing with an icy blue hue, scanned the room as a group of human scientists and soldiers scurried around, their movements seeming almost insignificant to the mighty Gloraxia. As the colonel observed the humans with a mixture of disdain and amusement, his gaze fell upon a lone soldier standing at attention in a corner of the room. Private Jack Reynolds, a young and unassuming man with a steely determination in his eyes, stood firm under the weight of the alien officer's scrutiny. "Pathetic creatures," Colonel Zeros sneered, his voice laced with contempt as he addressed the room. "Feeble humans, barely able to comprehend the mysteries of the universe, let alone defend themselves against the might of the Gloraxian Empire." The humans exchanged uneasy glances, their expressions a mix of fear and defiance in the face of the alien's taunts. Private Reynolds clenched his jaw, his fists balling at his sides as he fought to keep his composure in the presence of the alien colonel. "You may have advanced technology and firepower," Private Reynolds spoke up, his voice steady despite the tense atmosphere hanging in the air. "But we humans have a resilience and a spirit that you could never understand." Colonel Zeros chuckled condescendingly, his amusement evident as he turned his attention fully to the young soldier before him. "Resilience and spirit, you say? Such primitive notions pale in comparison to the might of the Gloraxian Empire. Your kind is nothing but a mere speck in the vast expanse of the cosmos." As the colonel's words echoed through the room, a sudden disturbance outside the outpost caught everyone's attention. Alarms blared, signaling an imminent threat, as the ground beneath them trembled with a foreboding intensity. Without warning, the outpost's defenses were breached as a horde of unidentified alien creatures descended upon Maelstrom Delta, their presence shrouded in mystery and malice. The humans and the Gloraxian soldiers alike scrambled to defend their outpost against this unexpected invasion, their once confident demeanor now replaced by urgency and fear. In the chaos that ensued, Private Reynolds found himself face to face with Colonel Zeros, their differences set aside in the wake of a common enemy. As they fought side by side against the alien invaders, a newfound respect began to bloom between the human soldier and the alien officer. Amidst the swirling chaos and fiery conflict of Maelstrom Delta, the true test of resilience and spirit unfolded as the fate of the outpost hung in the balance, a tale of unlikely allies bound by a shared struggle against the unknown forces that sought to conquer them all. The air crackled with the energy of battle as the sounds of weapons clashing and alien roars reverberated through the outpost of Maelstrom Delta. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros fought side by side, a peculiar alliance forged in the crucible of conflict as they stood back to back against the encroaching alien horde. The alien creatures, their forms twisted and nightmarish, seemed to emerge from the very abyss itself, their dark intentions shrouded in a veil of mystery. With each passing moment, it became clear that this was no ordinary invasion. The stakes were higher, the dangers more insidious than anyone could have imagined. Private Reynolds, fueled by a determination born of duty and loyalty to his comrades, unleashed a barrage of gunfire upon the alien assailants, his aim true and unwavering despite the chaos that surrounded him. Colonel Zeros, with a precision honed through years of military training, wielded his alien weaponry with deadly efficiency, his alien prowess proving to be a formidable asset in the heat of battle. As the tide of the conflict shifted back and forth, the outpost's defenders fought with a tenacity that defied all odds. The humans and Gloraxians, once divided by their differences, now stood united against a common enemy, their shared struggle binding them in a bond of camaraderie that transcended their origins. Amidst the turmoil of battle, Private Reynolds stole a glance at Colonel Zeros, a silent acknowledgement passing between them, a mutual understanding that in the face of overwhelming odds, they were stronger together than apart. Despite their initial animosity, they had come to respect each other's strengths and skills, recognizing that their fates were intrinsically linked in this battle for survival. As the battle raged on, the outpost trembled under the onslaught of the alien invaders, its defenses strained to their limits. But through sheer determination and unwavering resolve, the defenders of Maelstrom Delta held their ground, pushing back against the encroaching darkness with a fierce determination that defied all expectations. In the heart of the chaos, Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros fought shoulder to shoulder, their disparate backgrounds and species forgotten in the crucible of combat. Together, they stood as a testament to the resilience and spirit of both humans and Gloraxians, a beacon of hope in the face of overwhelming adversity, a united front against the abyss that threatened to consume them all. As the battle on Maelstrom Delta raged on, the alliance between humans and Gloraxians held strong against the relentless onslaught of the alien invaders. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros fought with a newfound camaraderie, their once opposing forces now united in a common cause, a bond forged in the crucible of conflict that transcended their differences. Together, the defenders of the outpost pushed back against the alien horde, their coordination and tenacity proving to be a formidable force against the encroaching darkness. With each passing moment, the tide of battle began to turn in their favor, the combined efforts of humans and Gloraxians dealing a devastating blow to the alien forces that sought to conquer Maelstrom Delta. Amidst the chaos of combat, Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros found themselves back-to-back once more, their weapons blazing as they fought side by side in a dance of defiance against their enemies. The air crackled with energy as the sounds of battle echoed through the outpost, a symphony of war that spoke of the unwavering resolve of those who stood against the abyss. As the last of the alien invaders fell, defeated and scattered, a moment of eerie calm settled over Maelstrom Delta, a brief respite in the aftermath of the fierce conflict that had consumed them. The outpost, battered but not broken, stood as a symbol of resilience and unity, a testament to the strength that could be found in unlikely alliances. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros, their faces smeared with dirt and sweat, exchanged a weary but triumphant smile, a silent acknowledgement of the bond that had been forged between them in the crucible of battle. Despite their differences, they had fought as one, their shared struggle against a common enemy, uniting them in a way that transcended words. As the dust settled and the outpost fell quiet, the defenders of Maelstrom Delta gathered to assess the cost of victory. Lives had been lost, sacrifices made in the name of survival, but through it all, a sense of pride and camaraderie lingered among the survivors, a shared experience that bound them together in ways that words could never fully capture. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros stood side by side, their gaze fixed on the horizon as a sense of quiet satisfaction settled over them. In the aftermath of the battle, they had emerged not just as allies, but as comrades in arms, a unity born of shared hardship and triumph, a testament to the resilience and spirit that defined them both. And as the sun set on Maelstrom Delta, casting a warm glow over the battlefield, the defenders of the outpost knew that they had faced the abyss and emerged victorious, a beacon of hope in the vast expanse of the cosmos, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the indomitable spirit of humanity and the unwavering strength of the Gloraxians could weather any storm that dared to challenge them. The aftermath of the battle on Maelstrom Delta brought a fragile peace to the outpost as the defenders worked to repair the damage and tend to the wounded. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros, along with the remaining survivors, busied themselves with the arduous task of rebuilding their defenses and fortifying their position against any future threats that loomed on the horizon. However, amidst the tranquility that settled over the outpost, a shadow of unease lingered in the air, a silent whisper of betrayal that threatened to shatter the fragile alliance between humans and Gloraxians. Private Reynolds, ever vigilant, couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked just beyond the edges of their newfound camaraderie. As days turned into weeks, tensions simmered beneath the surface, a sense of mistrust seeping into the ranks of the defenders. Rumors of dissent and treachery spread like wildfire through the outpost, sowing discord among those who had fought side by side against the alien invaders. Private Reynolds, plagued by doubts and suspicions, found himself questioning the true intentions of his alien comrades, particularly Colonel Zeros. The once imposing Gloraxian officer now seemed distant and aloof, his icy gaze betraying a veiled sense of unease that mirrored the private's own apprehensions. One fateful evening, as darkness descended upon Maelstrom Delta, a sudden commotion erupted within the outpost, a violent clash that shattered the fragile peace and plunged the defenders into chaos once more. Private Reynolds, his instincts sharpened by the lingering shadows of betrayal, raced to the source of the disturbance, his heart heavy with a sense of foreboding. What he found was a scene of betrayal and treachery unfolding before his eyes. Colonel Zeros, once a stalwart ally in battle, stood at the center of the turmoil, his alien soldiers turning against their human comrades with a ruthless efficiency that sent shockwaves through the outpost. Private Reynolds, his blood running cold at the sight of the betrayal, faced a stark realization. The alliance that had been forged in the crucible of conflict was now shattered beyond repair, torn asunder by the insidious machinations of those whose way sought to sow chaos and discord among them. With a heavy heart and a steely resolve, Private Reynolds raised his weapon, his gaze meeting Colonel Zero's in a silent exchange of defiance and determination. In the heart of betrayal and turmoil, a new battle loomed on the horizon, a battle not just for survival, but for the unity and resilience that had once defined the defenders of Maelstrom Delta. As the echoes of betrayal reverberated through the outpost, Private Reynolds steeled himself for the inevitable conflict that lay ahead, his spirit unbroken despite the shadows that threatened to consume them all. In the face of treachery, he knew that the true test of resilience and spirit had only just begun, a test that would push him to his limits and challenge everything he held dear. The betrayal on Maelstrom Delta tore through the defenders like a blade through flesh, leaving behind wounds that ran deep and a sense of betrayal that reverberated through the outpost like a haunting echo. Private Reynolds, his resolve hardened by the harsh reality of treachery, stood at the precipice of a new conflict, one that would test not just his skills as a soldier, but the very core of his beliefs and convictions. As the alien soldiers under Colonel Zero's command turned against their former allies, chaos and confusion reigned within the outpost. The once unified defenders now found themselves locked in a desperate struggle for survival, their bonds of trust shattered by the cruel hand of betrayal. Private Reynolds, his eyes ablaze with determination, rallied the remaining humans to stand against the treacherous Gloraxians who threatened to engulf them in a sea of discord and despair. With each passing moment, the burden of leadership weighed heavy on his shoulders, but he knew that the true test of resilience lay not just in the heat of battle, but in the ability to rise above betrayal and reclaim their unity. Amidst the turmoil of conflict, Private Reynolds found himself face to face with Colonel Zeros, the once honored Gloraxian officer, now a shadow of the ally he had once been. The air crackled with tension as the two adversaries locked gazes, their silent exchange speaking volumes of the betrayal that had torn them apart. Colonel Zeros, this path of treachery leads only to destruction, Private Reynolds's voice rang out, firm and unwavering despite the chaos that surrounded them. Together, we could have stood as a beacon of unity against the darkness. Why have you chosen this path of betrayal? Colonel Zeros, his expression grim and unyielding, met the private's gaze with a sense of resignation. The Gloraxian Empire values strength above all else, Private Reynolds. In the face of power, loyalty becomes a fleeting shadow. I have chosen a path that guarantees the survival of my kind, even at the cost of betrayal. In the heart of conflict and turmoil, a pivotal moment of decision hung in the balance. Private Reynolds, his spirit unbroken by the weight of betrayal, extended a hand towards the alien officer with a glimmer of hope in his eyes, a silent plea for redemption, for a chance to rise above the shadows of treachery and reclaim the unity they thought had once shared. As Colonel Zeros hesitated, a flicker of doubt crossing his once aloof expression, a moment of uncertainty settled over the battlefield. In that fleeting instant, the fate of Maelstrom Delta and the defenders who stood against the tide of betrayal hung in the balance, a testament to the resilience and spirit that defined them in the crucible of conflict. And in that moment of hesitation, a glimmer of hope emerged, a hope that redemption could be found even in the darkest of times, that the sparks of unity and resilience could reignite the flame of camaraderie and trust that had been fractured by the shadows of betrayal. The tension in the air was palpable as Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros stood at the crossroads of redemption and further betrayal. The fate of Maelstrom Delta and the fragile alliance between humans and Gloraxians hung in the balance, their choices in that critical moment echoing through the vast expanse of the cosmos. Colonel Zeros, his gaze flickering with uncertainty, hesitated for a heartbeat before finally lowering his weapon. The weight of the private's outstretched hand bore down on him with the gravity of a universe in turmoil, prompting a flicker of doubt to bloom within the depths of his alien eyes. "The path of betrayal is a lonely road, Colonel," Private Reynolds spoke, his voice carrying a note of empathy amidst the turmoil that enveloped them. "But the path of unity and resilience is one that brings strength beyond measure. Together, we can rise above the shadows of deceit and forge a new future, a future built on trust and camaraderie." Colonel Zeros, his resolve wavering, met the private's gaze with a mix of conflict and contemplation. The weight of his choices bore down on him like a heavy burden, the allure of power and self-preservation warring with the yearning for redemption and reconciliation. In that pivotal moment of uncertainty and vulnerability, the alien officer made his decision. With a solemn nod, he lowered his weapon and clasped Private Reynolds' outstretched hand in a gesture of solidarity, a silent agreement that transcended words and spoke of a shared desire for unity in the face of adversity. As the echoes of conflict began to fade and a tentative peace settled over the outpost, the defenders of Maelstrom Delta gathered together with a sense of renewal and determination. The scars of betrayal still lingered, but amidst the shadows of treachery, a flicker of hope for a brighter future emerged, a future built on the foundations of trust, resilience, and unity. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros, former adversaries turned loyal allies, stood side by side as a symbol of the newfound camaraderie that bloomed amidst the ruins of betrayal. Their hands clasped in a silent pledge of unity, they led the defenders of Maelstrom Delta forward into a future filled with uncertainty and challenges, but also with the promise of redemption and unity in the face of adversity. And as the outpost of Maelstrom Delta stood on the brink of a new dawn, bathed in the light of a universe vast and unknowable, the defenders knew that their shared experiences in the crucible of conflict had forged a bond that transcended species and differences, a bond that would guide them through the trials and tribulations that lay ahead, united in their unwavering resolve to stand as one against the shadows of betrayal that threatened to consume them. In the wake of the turmoil and betrayal that had gripped Maelstrom Delta, a newfound sense of unity and resilience bloomed among the defenders of the outpost. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros, once bitter adversaries, now stood as steadfast allies, a testament to the power of redemption and the indomitable spirit that bound them together in the face of adversity. As the days turned into weeks and the outpost of Maelstrom Delta began to rebuild and recover from the scars of conflict, a sense of renewal and hope permeated the air. The defenders worked tirelessly to repair their defenses, their shared efforts bolstered by a newfound sense of camaraderie and trust that had emerged from the ashes of betrayal. Private Reynolds, his determination unwavering, led the charge in fortifying the outpost against any future threats that loomed on the horizon. Colonel Zeros, standing by his side as a stalwart ally, lent his expertise and skills to the common cause, his once distant demeanor now softened by a sense of unity and purpose. Together, humans and Gloraxians worked side by side, their differences cast aside in the shared pursuit of a future built on trust, resilience, and cooperation. The shadows of betrayal that had once threatened to tear them apart now served as a reminder of the importance of standing together in the face of adversity, a lesson learned through hardship and strife, but one that had forged an unbreakable bond between them. As the outpost of Maelstrom Delta rose from the ashes of conflict, a beacon of hope shone brightly in the vast expanse of the cosmos, a symbol of unity in the face of division, of resilience in the face of adversity. The defenders, once fractured by betrayal, had emerged stronger and more united than ever before, their shared experiences weaving a tapestry of camaraderie that transcended boundaries and species. Within the heart of Maelstrom Delta, amidst the swirling nebulae and distant stars that painted the cosmos in hues of wonder and mystery, the defenders stood as a testament to the enduring spirit of unity and cooperation that defined them. Their shared journey from discord to harmony, from betrayal to redemption, spoke of the resilience and strength that could be found in unity, a strength that would guide them through the challenges that lay ahead as they navigated the vast expanse of the cosmos, bound together by a shared commitment to stand as one against whatever darkness might come their way. The outpost of Maelstrom Delta stood as a beacon of unity and resilience amidst the vast expanse of space, a testament to the enduring spirit that had bound its defenders together through the crucible of conflict and betrayal. Private Reynolds and Colonel Zeros, once at odds, now stood as symbols of cooperation and trust, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, redemption and solidarity could pave the way to a brighter future. As the defenders worked tirelessly to rebuild and fortify their outpost, a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose permeated the air. Humans and Gloraxians, once divided by mistrust and treachery, now worked in harmony, their combined efforts strengthening the bonds that held them together in the face of adversity. Private Reynolds, his gaze fixed on the horizon, felt a sense of pride swell within him, a pride born of the unity and resilience that had defined the defenders of Maelstrom Delta in the aftermath of betrayal. Colonel Zeros, standing at his side, nodded in silent acknowledgement of the journey they had undertaken, a journey that had transformed adversaries into allies, shadows into light. Amidst the echoes of unity that reverberated through the outpost, a sense of optimism and hope bloomed within the hearts of the defenders. The scars of betrayal still lingered, but they served as a reminder of the strength and solidarity that had emerged from the ashes of conflict, a strength that would guide them through the trials and tribulations that awaited them in the uncharted expanse of the cosmos. In the quiet moments of respite between the endless cycles of work and preparation, Private Reynolds found solace in the bonds of camaraderie that had formed among the defenders. As they gathered around the flickering glow of a makeshift campfire, sharing stories and laughter amidst the backdrop of the cosmos, a sense of belonging and kinship enveloped them, a sense of unity that transcended differences and hardships. As the outpost of Maelstrom Delta basked in the glow of unity and resilience, a new dawn emerged on the horizon, a dawn filled with promise and possibility, with challenges and triumphs yet to come. The defenders, their spirits unbroken and their resolve unwavering, stood together as a testament to the enduring power of trust, cooperation, and friendship in the face of adversity. And as the stars above Maelstrom Delta twinkled with a quiet sense of approval, the defenders knew that their shared journey was far from over, that the echoes of unity that bound them together would resonate through the cosmos, guiding them towards a future filled with hope, camaraderie, and the unwavering strength that came from standing as one against the tumultuous tide of the universe.